So SFDTO, what is this? The aid fund that we power here at Événements Attractions Québec. So this information session should last around 60 minutes. We did one yesterday in French. We're doing a couple more. In case you really enjoy my presentation, you can come back and listen to it in French. The session will be recorded, so you can also hear it again. It'll be on the website in a few days. We ask that you put your questions in the chat. It's easier for us. That way we can take notes and come back to you. If it's a general interest question, we'll try to answer it today. If it's very specific to your own project, send us an email and we will get back to you. The email is FSDOT, with the French acronym, sorry about that, at eaq.quebec. Now, I don't know if you guys know us, Événements Attractions Québec, so I'll just quickly present our organization. So we are the largest group of festival events, tourist attractions in the province of Quebec. Événements Attractions Québec, or EAQ, is a joint brand that brings together actually two associations, one for Festival et Événements Québec, and the other one, Société des Attractions Touristiques du Québec. So these two associations were founded in 1976, 1992, so quite a while ago, last century, I would say, and we have more than 500 members. If you ever want to become a member or find out more about us, you can also go on our corporate website, evenementattraction.quebec. Now, what our organization wants to carry as a mission or a vision is to make the hearts of our visitors vibrate to create collective wealth. By collective wealth, this is where our project really comes together. So we want to help you guys have better products, better offers, and therefore bring wealth to the collective industry of tourism in Quebec. Our other projects, as I mentioned before, we have the Virage Numérique. We have Virage Durable, which is for sustainable development, a new project that we have, and it's quite exciting. We also have a measuring tool for social practices evaluation model that we like to call the MEPS. Those, unfortunately, are in French only, the documentation. So what is the SFDTO program? If I go with quickly, it's an initiative, of Société des Attractions Touristiques du Québec. So this was brought on by us when we turned to the Economic Development of Canada to manage this envelope for you guys. It's implemented by our team, joint team of Événements Attractions Québec, funded, as I said, by Canada Economic Development for Quebec regions. We have an envelope totaling 5 million, and we hope to be able to support approximately 90 projects. For we aim to have these projects with events, festivals, and activities, tourist attractions that have a local or a regional scope. So we are not there for the big guys. We're there for the little and medium guys. To increase the capacity and attractiveness of your organizations, and we want to grow Quebec's foreign markets. The projects are awarded by a committee, so the selection will be done after the call for project proposal. And we need you to have enough expenses to be able to support an amount of assistance that ranges from 25,000 to 60,000. Now, this kind of sounds a little bit weird the way it's said there. It's simply because the level of support varies for different organizations and also for different types of expenses, but I'll get to that later. Are we all there? Are we good? We have a toolbox, so Marie-Claude will share, if not already done, in the chat. you have the applicant's handbook, the checklist, which also includes an appendix, which is like a checklist to make sure that you don't forget anything, and so you know all the questions ahead of time before you actually get into the form. And the final package, financial package calculation grid, that's a mouthful, that is also included in the applicant's handbook and form. So today we want to talk about the before, the during, and the after. So we want to go over the objectives. We want to see what are the eligibility criteria, what kind of projects we're looking for, how to calculate the amount that you're entitled to. We'll look at the application form, at the template for your financial package, the mandatory documents that you need to submit, also additional documents that will greatly help your case. And in the end, quickly we'll touch on, once a project is selected, what's going to happen, how you're going to receive your money, and how you will be able to justify all the money that we are giving to you. So that's the order of the day. So what is the objectives of this program? I broke it down. So by supporting the development of tourism products, offers, experiences, the program seeks to increase the capacity and the attractiveness, so that's one thing, of attractions, activities, festivals, tourist events of local and regional scope. And we want to do this for visitors from outside Quebec. And we want to touch particularly, not exclusively, but particularly remote areas or rural areas. That does not exclude the others, but that is one of the objectives. Eligible organizations. To be eligible, I think we went around the table before, so your for-profit, non-profit organization or a municipal organization would be eligible. We need that, and this is going to be interesting with the Carib Festival, is the location of the tourist activity must be outside the major tourist centers of the Montreal and Quebec city regions. So in the case of a festival being held right smack in the middle of the tourist area of Montreal, unfortunately, that would not be eligible. However, if you are going to develop a new festival, a new event outside of that area, and I think that's what I understood from what you told me before, that part would be admissible. And what else? I mean, that's pretty straightforward. You need to be able to complete the project no later than October 31st of 2025. So not this year, next year. So that's plenty of time. And another priority would be to fit with other stakeholders of your region, whether it's your tourist association, maybe businesses in your area, the municipality. So it's always good to have to be complementary to those stakeholders. Are we good? So who cannot be eligible for this financial assistance? Well, any activities, tourist attractions, etc., that are already in the market, that are already attracting people from outside Quebec. So the big leaders are not eligible for this program, unfortunately. Retail establishments, we're really not there. Accommodation, this is really not our expertise. And restaurants in particular also. Any service businesses and indigenous tourism, there is a separate envelope, and it is handled by Tourisme Autochtone Québec, the TAQ. So they will handle those clients. It's a few other exceptions, so you should see the list in the applicant handbook.
May I ask a quick question?
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, can you go back to the previous slide if you don't mind?
Sure.
Merci beaucoup. Okay, so it says for accommodation establishments, hotels, campsites, lodges, and inns, etc. Right? So if we were planning to position an event like a festival type of event at an actual campsite in Maricourt, Quebec, which is in proximity to Bromont, Mount, would that be eligible?
Yep.
It's an actual okay.
Yes, that would work. A hotel that would want to develop an activity like a tourist attraction that would be open to the public, not just to their own clients, that would be admissible. Also, a tourist attraction or a festival that would want to develop some kind of an accommodation, maybe like a site during the event to accommodate more tourists to come, that would also be admissible. But in general, hotels and lodging establishments are not admissible to this program.
So if we're looking to position an actual festival on a campsite that's a known campsite in Maricourt, that would be admissible, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Did I see Sylvie raise a hand?
Yes, Sylvie raise her hand.
Yes, I wanted to know, the first line there says the already attracts tourists from outside of Quebec. So how do you measure that? Is there, if I have 1% of tourists outside of Quebec, am I already not eligible, or what is the percentage that's allowed?
There is no percentage. I knew you would ask that question. There is no percentage. They will be looking at the potential, first of all, but also, I mean, if you're already on the front page of your, regional association on the international markets, chances are you're not going to get this. If you are already attracting a fair amount, you're already having like marketing campaigns on those markets, it's not gonna fly, unfortunately. There is no set percentages because between different types of attractions, some of them may be more naturally prone to attract some visitors from out of province. I'll just give an example. Maybe a ski hill or a water park may already have 15-20% coming from Ontario, but they don't do anything about it. It just happens because of the nature of their attractions, but they could have a much bigger potential. That will be interesting. That will be already that would be considered. If you have 5% of your clients coming from France, and you could have maybe a lot more coming from another market, they will also look at that. So no specific percentage, unfortunately, just based on potential. So that's the way you should be presenting your case. Okay.
Thank you.
So I feel like I was rambling a lot about that, but no, it's hard because there's no set percentage. So we said, okay, so what we're looking for is an organization that has local or regional scope, that is little or not frequent, like why does frequented, visited, maybe, I don't know, by customers from outside markets. Located outside major tourist centers, located in remote areas. That's the kind of organization that is targeted by this. That doesn't necessarily to check all the boxes, but that's the general idea. The projects that we are looking for will increase economic benefits within the regions. It will extend the tourist season. It may also enhance active tourism experiences, straighten a sustainable tourism offers. So those 4 priorities are very important, and they will come again and again when you prepare for your to submit your application. Eligible expenses. So again, very wide. We can, as long as the expenses are necessary for the completion of your project, you must identify them in the project. You can't say, okay, give me $60,000 and I'll figure out what I'm going to do later on. You do have to submit a plan. You must they must appear in the financial calculation grid that I will present a bit later on. It could be capital expenditures. There's some exceptions, but that could be interesting. Professional fees, production costs, payroll. That is also very interesting, and we'll see how much and how to calculate it. Management fees. So, you know, what's important is that they must not have been incurred before the date of submission of the project. So if you already submitted your project, you already are able to start working on your project. If you're going to do it only at 4 o'clock on the 10th of May, because that's the deadline and that's what everybody's going to do, then you cannot start working on it until that date. So, but once you submitted your proposal, you're free to start working on it. So, what is not eligible? Marketing costs. No marketing costs, no advertisement, no social media is eligible. And then there's a few items. There was an envelope already given out by Economic Development Canada for grooming machines, snow cannon and stuff, so they don't want to go there. Land acquisition is not eligible. Motorized vehicles, unless they're like rolling stock within your site, but anything that can be registered for off-site use cannot be eligible. The day-to-day expenses, cost overruns, I mean, all very normal things that are not eligible, and anything that is not directly related to the project. So how do we calculate the amount of financial aid? There's 2 different formulas. One, for-profit businesses has their own formula, and then the non-profit. So for-profit businesses, it's a maximum non-refundable financial aid of $60,000. The assistance rate is 50% of capital expenditures, and the other costs are covered at 75%. So this is great because it's non-refundable, so it makes it a lot easy for you guys. Stacking limits for government funding, up to 50% for capital assets and 75% for other costs. We have our grid that I'll show you later has been programmed so you can know exactly how much money you'll be able to get for different kinds of expenses. And for nonprofit, the maximum non-refundable financial aid is $60,000 as well, at a rate of 90% of eligible costs. And the stacking limit on that, well, there's no limit. 100% of all costs could be from government assistance. So what I'll do is I'll come back to you guys because I miss you. And I will also get back to the form. There you are. And nobody's sleeping. That's great. So, okay. Any questions before I go to the form? We're good? Okay, so let me share that.
I have one question.
Yes, Stephen.
Are we eligible? Are we allowed to apply in English, or must we apply in French? We're allowed to apply in English. Okay, perfect.
Yes, all the forms, everything, the handbook, everything is available in English.
OK. La majorité des subventions au Québec, on devrait l'écrire en français. Donc, c'est pour ça que
well, this one is federal. This one
Okay.
is federal. So
Okay.
we do it in both languages.
Okay, thank you so
That's
much
my
for
pleasure.
answering
I
my
haven't
question.
worked in English for years now, so I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm
Okay.
looking for my words. It's one thing to chat around the table with your husband or friends, but get back to work. Okay, so let me concentrate here. I'm looking for my, where did I put it? Did I open it? Maybe I didn't. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Sorry, the wrong one. Partager. It's on the website, so that should be here. Sorry. Okay, so this is the website that you probably saw already. I'll get to the form. So when you start filling out this form, a few little tips. You can save it as you go. That could avoid a few frustrations. So the save it button is at the very bottom. Oops. Here it is. Save it and continue later. Once you submit, it's gone. We get it. If you needed to get back to it, you would have to contact us so we can unlock it for you. So really save it and continue for later. What can I tell you about this form? We tried to make it as easy as possible. When you do see a little corner like this, that means you can expand it, so that helps to see what you wrote into it. There's no limit as to how many words or how long. However, human beings are behind this to read it, to understand it, and so please make it as clear and concise as possible. We don't have the artificial intelligence to analyze all these beautiful projects, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. Again, with the context around the development of the product that you want to submit. So please talk about your strategic vision. What are the issues? What do you propose as a solution? What do you expect as a result? And any spin-offs after you implement this new project. So again, you can describe the project in great details, and you can explain the steps towards implementing the project. Now we want to see what is your current market? What is the rate of visitors that you do have coming from Quebec or outside Quebec? And let's say you say it's 10% or 5% or whatever from outside Quebec, then here you can tell us a little bit more about where these people come from. Are they mostly like from Ontario, from the US, et cetera, et cetera? And we asked to give us an idea of how do you collect the information concerning these different markets. Do you do surveys? Do you have a database? So just give us an idea how you came up with these numbers. And once you implement this new product, tell us what are you targeting? Which seasons? Oh, this one wasn't. Aha! See, found a boo-boo. So the seasons that are concerned with this new product, explain to us who you're targeting, and et cetera, et cetera. We want to know about your decision-making process. So how did you come up with this idea? Did you have, for example, professional guidance? Do you have a business plan? So anything to help us understand what is your decision-making process behind this request? And so different questions about that. The synergy with your community. Are there businesses in your area that may partner up with you once it's launched? Do you have support from, I don't know, maybe a special interest group, et cetera, et cetera? You can explain to us how the objectives of the programs and the 4 priorities that we talked about. Just explain to us how the project will meet those priorities. And your commitment to sustainable development principle. This is always very important. We do want to go towards projects that are sustainable. So please explain how this will be for you. And this is a typical Economic Development Canada question about creating and maintaining jobs. Now we can download the calculation grid here. So when you press here, it will go into your downloads, and then of course it's going to appear on another screen, which I don't think you guys will see. I'm going to have to reshare here. Let's see. Okay, so let's share now my grid. Oops. If I do this here, do you see my grid? I suppose you do. So this is magic. It's unbelievable. We work so hard on this. So let's say you're a nonprofit organization. It's going to tell you exactly which template to use, which is template number 1. If you were like a corporation, you would have to use template number 2. Do we have any corporations with us today, or only nonprofit?
We're the Vineyard is we just incorporated. We're a partnership before, but we've just incorporated. Okay. So it's
perfect. So because
hopefully for profit, it's non-profit in reality, but maybe profitable one day.
Absolutely. I will use the for-profit example because it's a little bit more complex. So so in this case here, we'll go with this one. So it tells us you're a corporation. So we go in here and we have the template number 2. So the checklist here, you have just a reminder what's eligible, what's not eligible, etc. Template number 1 for nonprofit, template number 2 for-profit organizations. So here you will put your organization name, the title of your project. So far, so good. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Is it big enough? Do you guys see well? Yeah, I would think so. But a bit bigger. The other way. No, not happening. No, okay. I'm not gonna touch it. Sorry. What did I do? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So. Here you will put your production costs and professional fees. So for example, you have a production cost of, I don't know, just put the description here, the cost before taxes. Let's say this one is $10,000. So it will calculate the financial support that you would get for this line. Let's say you have a professional fee for, let's say, I don't know, 40,000. It will again calculate. Let's say you have benefits. So you are going to include some employees that are perhaps working on this project. So you will total up your salaries and benefits. So let's say you have for $15,000 here, for example. So, okay, so you do have eligible costs so far that are adding up to 65,000 at 75% because you're a for-profit organization. So far, you're allowed to claim for 48,750. Let's say you also have some capital expenditures. Let's say you're purchasing for about 15,000 of equipment. Whoops, not there. Equipment, let's say. It would help if I put my numbers in the right column. There you go. So far you have a project of 80,000. It calculated this part at 50,000 and this part at 75. So far you're allowed 56,250. It automatically calculates for you the management fee, which cannot exceed 3,330 and up to a maximum of 5% of the eligible project expenses. So far it calculated for you that you're entitled for $2,497 of management fees, and you have your financial supported is evaluated at 58,000. So let's say you added another cost here, another production cost. Let's say software. Why not? For another 10,000, 10,000. So now you see that your eligible expenses for the project jumped up to 63, plus your management fees, you're at 66. It will block it at 60,000. So you don't really have to worry about how you're going to calculate it. You just put in all your expenses and it will do the magic for you. Of course, at the time of evaluation of all the projects, we will double check to make sure that things were placed in the right column. Sarah?
Yep.
Yeah, if it's okay, just a quick question. So when we fill out the form, we should include all our expenses so that the totality is sort of seen, not just up to the point where the $60,000 stops.
Exactly. This
correct?
will give us a better understanding of the scope of your project as well. If you feel that at this point that you have reached and you have more and more expenses, you don't necessarily have to put them all up here, but there is a place where you could add them so we have a better understanding of your project. So other expenses that are not necessarily eligible for the project, maybe you already spent them back in January or February, you already started some things, you could put them here. So we have a general idea of the scope of your project, which is always very, very good. Okay.
Thank you.
So at this point, we do have reached the limit of 60,000. Invertedly, if it was a small project and you only had the equipment here and no payroll and nothing else, that would be very sad because you would not be eligible, and that would be because you are not reaching the minimum of 25,000. All right. So this is how it goes for the grid. Now, this is for your expenses. Now you want to estimate, oh, now I should have left those numbers because I want to show you that. Yeah, okay. So now the financial support, perhaps you're getting some money from other governments, grants or whatnot. So this is what we're going to grant. But let's say with your region, you have 10,000 towards the project. So it will balance out. So it takes into account all the monies that you're getting from different government agencies, municipalities, et cetera, et cetera. So that brings us to your total request of 56,000. To be confirmed, of course. Now you have to match up the investment, the capital or loans or partnerships on your side. So we need to reach it at 27,000 here. So let's say you have 20,000 of your own money, and maybe you're going to get a sponsorship for 8,000. So in this way, 20, is it working? How much was it? 7,000, 82 and 50. So that completes your, oops, not a dot here. Comma. There you go. So now it disappears because you are balancing your financial support plus your own investment. If you have any difficulties as you're doing this, just give us a call. We'll help you, but it should be pretty straightforward. If it was a for-profit, then everything goes at 90%, so we can just check it out very quickly. For nonprofit, you only have the 90%. So you don't have all the gyrations with the different type of expenses. You're still allowed to claim for your 5% management fee. And again, you will have the financial support on one side and your own capital investment on the other side. In this case, you could have 100% of financial support here and nothing here. That would work out. So stop with the sharing of that. Here we go. Everything okay so far, so good? Great. I'm gonna have to go back to my presentation. Where we were at. Here we go. So we talked about the form. We talked about the template that I just showed you. The wages, how do you calculate the wages of your employees that would be involved in the project? So you calculate the number of hours that you estimate to complete the project times the actual hourly rate of the said employee, but it's up to $30 an hour. So if you had 2 employees, one at $20 an hour, another one at 35, so the first one would be calculated based on the actual hourly rate, and the other one would have to be brought down to $30 per hour. And of course, the social benefits attributed to these salaries. Of course, the employees who are involved are carrying out the project. There will be some supporting documents required at the end. The salary registered and the proof that these employees were paid.
Can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you mentioned social benefits, can you elaborate a bit more about that? Would that be like, for instance, like a nonprofit that decides to get a group benefit package, like let's say for like health and dental and so forth?
That's it. Well,
okay.
Usually these programs will allow up to about 20% of the salary that is declared in social benefits.
Okay.
It could be vacation time, like you said, health benefits, different things like that. It's getting more and more accepted that the social benefits are a bit outside that scope. So, but usually it's about 20%. There's no set percentage in this program. That should give you an idea of what to look for.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And the management fees, we already touched on that. So mandatory and additional documents. Mandatory documents, of course, the form. We need a board resolution or a letter from the owner. Please go in the handbook because there's several things that we ask to be included in that letter, just so you don't have to go back and forth because some things are missing. The most recent annual financial statements are required, and the template that I just showed you. Those are the 4 mandatory documents. However, any additional documents is more than welcome. This is probably where some projects will shine. So if you have any letters of support from the community, from donors, if you have municipal permits that you had to get, well, just let us know about that. If you have already worked on a deployment plan, if you have worked with some experts, got some recommendations, if you already have your contracts, if you have a model of what you're proposing, anything to illustrate the proposed project to help us understand it, etc., etc. Maybe anything else that we are not thinking of, but that can be important to your own project. Okay. So I think as far as the procedures and all that, I think that covers it. Now I'm going to go after this. I'm going to go back to the handbook because there's a few little things I want to point out to you. But quickly here, once a project is selected, and that may be just during the summer, just think that we are aiming to support about 90 projects, and we'll probably receive several hundreds at this point. That's usually how it goes. So for those selected, the first payment will be 25% of the total aid. That you will receive this after you sign and return the agreement. We're going to be sending everyone an agreement with all the clauses and everything in there. Once you sign it, return it to us, we will work towards sending you your first 25%. Midterm follow-up report, midterm being a bit loose here, about 50% of the aid. We'll chat with you, see how it goes, if you're reaching, all the milestones, and then we'll issue the payment for 50%. And at the end of the project, the balance will be paid out. It could be in proportion to your actual expenses. If it was a little bit less, then we will adjust accordingly. We will ask a record of achievement. You may have to provide us with pictures or, depending on the projects, just to show us how it deployed. Invoices, the proof of payment of those invoices, etc., etc. So that will be at the end to get your final 25%. So I'm just going to go back to the handbook quickly, and again, it's so small here, I think. No, that's not it. I'll go to the handbook. Yeah, I see a hand. Stephen.
Yeah, I just have another quick question, if you don't mind. With regards to, I know you mentioned that marketing expenses and social media are not eligible expenses, right?
Right.
For new events, like the ones that are looking to attract tourists, like advertising is quite important, like marketing and reaching out to a certain target audience is important to attract visitors. Is there any particular reason why marketing expenses are not eligible?
Yes, because a lot of times there's other envelopes available for that. You can maybe turn towards your the region, le ATR, local. They usually have campaigns going on. Also, development economic Canada Economic Development, sorry, they have other programs to help out with this. So in this case, we really want to focus on the product, on the experience.
Okay. Yeah. I understand. Okay, like CED and ATRs. Okay,
right.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I'm still looking for that guide of mine. So I'm sorry. Any other question? Well, I find this? No? Okay.
Yeah.
We have Sarah, yes.
Yes.
Well, it's not very, maybe it's too specific, except we're not 100 people in here, so maybe it's okay. So when, you know, obviously I'm not in the festival category, more in the tourist experience category, because we're a vineyard that wants to open. We have a lot of, we're not open, but we have people last year stop every day. So we want to kind of upgrade and open for people to come and visit and do the tasting and visit the vineyard and have that experience. So overall, that fits into the category of tourist attraction.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yep. That's
okay.
It.
Good.
Absolutely.
Great.
I'll be the first to try it out.
Excellent. You're very welcome to come, all of you.
Okay, so this is your guide. Oh, and just by the way, we are taking care of products from between 25,000 and 60,000. If the scope of your project was larger than that, there is a possibility, but you would have to go directly with Canada Economic Development. They have in each regions, they have their own program going on. So bigger projects would go that way.
Yes, through the CED, I believe there's a program that extends a budget up to $250,000, $250,000. Yeah,
that's
for
right.
Through CED.
That's right. However,
the
they do
link,
not support the festivals, only attractions. Festivals have to come to us. Okay, so the table of content, it's dynamic, so you just click on the subject and it will bring you down to the right section. So I just want to remind you that the call period is from well, it was from March 25th to May 10th at 5:00 p.m. Once you submit your form, you will receive an email with the time and date, and that will confirm that we received it. Okay.
May I ask one last question?
Sure.
When you categorize something as a festival, right? Like for what we're looking to do for Ergo de Caraïbes in Maricourt is more like an overnight sleepover, like Woodstock type of engagement, which can be considered, I guess, a tourist attraction. You know, like the Woodstock in like 1960s, right?
Right.
It is somewhat of a festival, but it's like almost a overnight sleepover in a campground where people will be encouraged to like camp there and then stay and then attend all the performances and this and that, right? So would that be considered a festival or a?
Yes, that would be considered an event. Festival, you have to be a festival, you have to have a program. I suppose that you will have some artists that come and some services to your campers, I guess. Like an infrastructure, you'll probably have a website and all that. So it's definitely considered a festival.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for that.
If I may say something as well. Adding to what Steve is just saying, yes, it will. What we will be doing will be more or less a mini festival, because right now we're doing little things at an established campsite area in Maricourt. And we're bringing a mini version of the festival there, which would include, some international and national artists and so on and so forth. So it would be indeed a festival. And we already have part of that specific establishment on our website. I will mention the name if that's okay. We currently have an area established at the Havana Resort. I don't know if you're familiar with that Havana Resort.
I think my daughter is more familiar than I am, but yes.
Exactly. And that's an area where, there are a lot of tourists, going, and they're attracted, they have like a swimming pool and kind of like a Caribbean vibe, that area. And I'm looking at this funding, and I think that falls right into what the funding is all about. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, what I put as
No.
well is that we have cities like Sherbrooke and Drummondville reaching out to us as well to bring a mini festival.
Okay.
Okay, and so these are, I think those ideas are things that fit well within this funding. I don't know if you agree with that, but yeah.
I think so. What they're looking for is something that is sustainable. So if it's a one-of, like a 1 year only, and then you move on to something else the year after, that's not quite what they're looking for. If you're looking at a repeat business from year to year, with a business plan, and that will have better chances at being supported.
Right. Yeah, these will be annual events, just like we have our large festival in Montreal right now. These will be repeated like annually in these specific cities, and also we'll be taking it like across Canada and various cities, because we have some of the other provinces also asking us for the festival in some of their small towns as well. So these will be things that are will be on an annual basis. Not just
so
one.
you're taking like the Caribbeans on the road kind of thing. So that
pretty much,
quite
yes, because
interesting.
there is a definite market for it, and this is what this is what some of the cities are asking for. And these are things they believe, and we believe also, that would increase tourist activity and whatnot to the city.
Well, that's very interesting. And as far as festivals, one thing you have to kind of stay away from in your request is programming. Everybody wants to have Taylor Swift, but having Taylor Swift 1 year does not make an event sustainable. So we veer off the programming, and we really want to go into something more sustainable. So maybe some infrastructure that you're going to be reusing from year after year, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we do have something like that already, because what we do is we collaborate with an organization who are associated also with the Juno Awards and stuff like that. And so it's like national talent. So we try to use this in order to give the local talent exposure as well. So there's always like a rotation. It's not always the same talent that's coming in. It's new talent that's coming up, that's rising up, and so on and so forth. So we kind of have that mixture.
Oh, that's good.
So it's not the kind of Taylor Swift idea that you just mentioned.
No. If you, or maybe Beyonce in your case, I don't know.
Well, exactly it is.
All right. Thanks. So, okay. I'm going to get back to the document that I finally found. And so we wanted to go back to this guide. Another thing, there's tips everywhere. So we hope to help you fill out the document. Now, I talked about the board resolution or the letter from the owner. So these are all the different things that we need to have in this letter. So make sure before you knock at the door of your boss or president that you have everything on hand. The analysis. Let's just touch quickly. It's already 1 o'clock, so I don't want to keep you guys longer than necessary. But what is important for the committee that will be doing the analysis of all the projects? They will look at the viability of your project. They will also look at the relevance of the project. Is it contributing to the global attractiveness of your area or of your sector? Do you get support from your community? They also will look with the synergy with the local stakeholders, supply and demand. Do you have maybe already intention from tour operators that want to put your new product on the market, et cetera, et cetera? Is it unique? So we want to hear anything that can sway the balance towards your project. Please make sure that it is communicated. A word also on the announcement. So as I said before, we expect quite a few projects to be submitted. We are a small team. We will have external advisors with us on this committee to ensure that we don't veer off in the wrong way. We're hoping to be able to give news by July 31st. So if you do decide that you go on with your expenses, it may or may not be supported. So that's really up to you to decide if you're going ahead of time. And we touched on the different phases for the payment schedule. Completion, the record of achievements at the end. So you will have to submit all your expenditures with the invoices and the proof of payment. Also, you may have to send us some videos, some images, media coverage, whatever is out there as evidence of completion. And the overview of human resources. As I said before, it is a CED program, so this is important in the overall achievement of our program to have this data. And I think that does it for the guide. So yep, that's it for us. So any questions, any comments that we should know about?
Maybe just a quick question about the les dévis, what is that? Now I'm looking for my words in French, for contracts and
yes.
Yeah, like so for my particular case, sorry again, my particular case, but there are certain things that we're going to do whether or not we're supported, but there's probably things that we might not do or scale back depending on how much support we get, or if we get any. So for example, if there's something about like infrastructure, or like a contract, I guess it's helpful to have the most detailed submission documents as possible, I would imagine.
Yes, and if the expense or the service is over 50,000, you will need to have like a tender for 2 offers.
Okay. No, in our case, it's 90% there. We're almost there. This is really to just polish it and make it that much nicer. So
nice. All right.
Yeah.
So if you had to go for tender, like we asked for 2 offers, if you're not ready to submit them now because you're still in the planning phase of your project, when we get to the second payment, that's when we will ask to see them. So you will have time to get them if you didn't get them by the May 10th deadline.
Okay. Perfect. Excuse me.
That's fine. We all have animals. I don't know what mine is doing right now, so maybe it's best I don't look.
Thank you very much for all the information.
You're welcome. So I think that wraps it up. If you do have more questions, just send us an email, or maybe Eric, is it Eric that's typing? Maybe he has a question. Just, but if not, thanks guys for being there, and hope, yeah, good luck everyone. Absolutely. I'm already excited to see what's going to come our way, and wish we could help everyone. So
well, thank you very much. Everything was very well presented. Everything was clear. You've answered all of our questions. And
nice.
Okay.
Yes, thanks for putting up with my questions.
No, I mean, that's what makes it interesting, you know? I mean, one-way conversations are not a conversation, so.
Oh, yes.
Great, guys. Well, see you, hopefully, and good luck.